Oh, all right. Welcome back, everybody. Okay. Well, I have actually not posted a video for the last couple of days. It's been the Christmas weekend, and so I took a few days off, spent with the family, not really worried about the channel, but I'm back now, and I'm ready to do my review of this guy. I've actually had this in my possession for quite a while. I don't even know how long it's been since I've purchased it, rather. And yeah, I've had a lot of other knives that have been loaners coming in that I've been doing videos on. So finally ready to do this one. And this one did take a little bit longer anyways, because it is not your typical knife that I use for typical things throughout the day. This is the Cold Steel 4MAX. Yeah, this thing is a behemoth. And if you're watching my channel, or if you've kind of just come across my channel, I am Kyle, and I like big knives. This is a big knife. The Cold Steel, guys, Cold Steel sold here recently, and everybody's kind of, going crazy right now for Cold Steel. We really don't know what that means yet, so we're not going to go over a lot of that, but I'm one of those who hopes for the best, prepares for the worst. And so I hope, because Lynn Thompson said he was going to be very active in this new company, still designing knives and helping with everything. So I'm positive about it. Only time will tell. But I am a huge Andrew Demko fan. And this is an Andrew Demko design. Andrew Demko was also the man who invented the oh my gosh, I almost said tri-way pivot system. That's Rick Hinder. The triad lock. Holy crap. Can't talk today, ladies and gentlemen. The triad lock is an invention from Andrew Demko and is arguably the strongest lock on the market. You can go on YouTube and find Andrew Demko and Cold Steel putting this lock to the test, even on this knife. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, the rest of the knife is going to break before the lock breaks. So basically, 2020 was a tough year, right? 2020 was tough for a lot of folks. I am actually one of the blessed ones who, I've been able to continue to work, no furloughs or anything like that. I've always been working ever since the pandemic. And so it's not been that, not been that harsh for me, but a lot of people, it's been tough. And so, you know what? I put out, and I wanted to do this review of what I think the toughest knife of all time is, and that is the Cold Steel 4MAX. Now, that's my opinion. I mean, obviously, I haven't held and handled all knives out there, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you, in my opinion, this knife is the ultimate tough knife. This thing is a beast, and it has all the capabilities of what I want as a tool for, this is not exactly your EDC knife that most people carry. Do I carry this for an everyday blade sometimes? I mean, in my rotation, hell yes, I carry this because I love it so much. However, it is not your slim, deep carry EDC pocket knife that a lot of people gravitate to. This is not the purpose of this knife. This is an overbuilt beast tough workhorse. Now, I've got other workhorses in the collection that I use for still harder tasks when I'm out and about, out in the yard, working on something, whatever. This is definitely a knife that I want to take out with me in the outdoors. It's got enough blade length, enough handle size for me to do whatever it is I want to do. So, what are we working with? Well, this is the Italian version. You had an American-made version and an Italian version, and believe it or not, I heard really poor things about the American-made version of this knife, and always heard that the Italian one was made just a little bit better. And so I did buy this one off the secondary market. It is definitely a used knife, but I got it for a really good deal. You can't really buy these anymore. They are discontinued, but you can find them on the secondary market. Cold Steel selling, I'm not sure how that kind of affects that. But I got a really good deal on this thing, and whenever I was looking at it, I saw the prices on this go like freaking through the roof at some points. I saw this thing for a price of $450 all the way down to like $280. And so, yeah, the prices just kind of went kind of berserk. And it definitely is one of the most expensive Cold Steel knives that I have ever purchased. But it's worth it, guys. I am telling you. So it's a behemoth. We're going to put some size comparisons, but before we do that, what are we working with? Well, this one comes with a huge chunk of CPM 20CV steel, which of course all of you know who watch, I love that steel. Now, I love that steel as an EDC steel. As my outdoor folders go, I really would like to have something like a 3V, a lot more tough of a steel, but with its stainless properties and its ability to hold an edge, 20CV is not bad for that. I mean, I'm okay with this thing having 20CV steel, and holy crap, I think it's the biggest blade in 20CV that I have ever seen. It has got a 4-inch blade. I don't even know what this is as far as the... It's 4 inches of 20CV. Let's kind of get an idea of what it is here. So it's about an inch, a little over an inch and a half wide blade. It's just absolute beast. The overall length of this guy is 10 inches with a handle length of 6 inches. And for me, that's great. That's important. I do have bigger hands. However, this thing, it's heavy. It's like 9.2 ounces. But it's got a 180 thousandths thick blade stock, and with this big long handle and this ability to choke up, I can really do anything with this knife, including choke back and do chopping. This right here is definitely the knife that I take with me in the outdoors because I have the ability to really do anything that I want with this thing. It's long enough. The blade shape is... It's perfect for the things that I need to do outdoors, and it 20 CV holds a great edge. It's just really, really awesome. It also has this really, really nice gray G10 that is slightly contoured, rounded all over the place. The American one was like a kind of a coyote brown or tan. I don't really know what to call it. I definitely like the gray look a lot better than the American version. But it's if I had the American version, I don't think I'd be disappointed. It was just kind of things that I heard on other YouTubers say that it was just not as up to snuff as the Italian made version. Only thing that I really can't complain about this knife is I kind of wish it's a big behemoth, and they still, you've got your pivot here, which is a decent size, but the torque screws, they could have totally done bigger torque screws and not taken away from the aesthetics of the knife. These are like little T6s. I think this is a T8 or it might be a T10, but still, I really wish they would have done oversized hardware for this thing. I just think that would have fit the knife better. But yeah, we do have a titanium pocket clip that is, typical cold steel fashion, but it works amazingly, does not seat deep carry. But in this knife, of course, you guys know me, I don't really care about deep carry, but with this knife, it is intended not to sit deep carry, for heaven's sakes. It is a huge, big old folder, and it's used for work, so you want to be able to get your hand in there and get it out. So, yeah, I mean, aesthetically, this thing, I think, looks amazing. It is wide, it is beefy, but I think it looks really good. The G10 is just very, very well done. Now, the action on this guy. My favorite way to deploy the knife is the finger roll. And the reason the finger roll is my favorite way to deploy this knife is because of the sound that it makes. Boom. Excuse me. That sound, whenever you hear about locking up like a bank vault, you can't go wrong with the triad lock. This thing locks up and locks up solid. It's not going anywhere, guys. I am telling you. Now, I don't do any kind of testing like the guys at Demco or Cold Steel do, but I have really put this knife through more paces than any other knife that I have as far as on the outdoor setting, and this thing, it does not go anywhere. Not at all, not at all. Now, it's not one of those, okay, so I can flick the knife, kind of, under the camera, but if I give it some wrist, I can definitely flick this knife with my thumb. So yeah, giving it some wrist, you can get it out there, but it is definitely not a fidgety guy. I mean, I love doing that right there, and that's how I open the knife. I close it with 2 hands. Now, can you close it with 1 hand? You can, you just gotta be careful. Put your finger way up here and then let the knife drop so you can control it and actually get it down. So it's very doable with one hand. It's just, if I can, I'm going to close it with two hands because that's a big old chunk of 20 CV coming down on you. But dude, this thing, you can't ask for better comfort in a knife. The handle is large, and it's large and in charge, and I've got larger hands, but this thing isn't going anywhere. I love the fact that I can choke up, I can do a regular hammer grip, saber grip, choked up grip, just to get anything done that I want. I mean, it's very comfortable in the reverse grip, even though I don't ever use that. I mean, just in any grip that I put it in to have to do any kind of cutting, it's comfortable. And it's because you've got so much room there. It's a neutral enough handle. It kind of swoops down here, but it does lock you in. It has jimping kind of on this back. You've got some cutouts in the G10 and the liners. No jimping up here on the blade. Don't really need it. Don't really care. As you can see here, maybe, if it'll do what I wanted to do. Come on, focus, camera. Well, I got to do this always. So it's cold steel, CPM 20 CV, and this one, of course, is made in Italy. And then on the other side, you have just Formax. And the Formax, I hear a lot of people say that it looks like NASCAR text or whatever. Whatever. I think the original Demco Formax is a pretty sterile blade, but I don't mind that at all. It's just a wonderful freaking knife. Now, so I said we're going to do some size comparisons, and we are. So the only thing fitting for size comparisons on this knife are going to be other Demco models. Here it is against another one that I love, the 8015. And as you can see, it is absolutely dwarfing the 8015, and the 8015 is a big knife. So obviously this one is using another thing that I love Andrew Demko for, is his lock designs, the triad lock. This one is called the Scorpion lock, and I just kind of want to show you something. So the thumb studs work really well on this guy. Of course, with the Scorpion lock, it's just a little bit more fidgety because you can kind of do that number, but you can do the thumb. I can even put my finger behind the thumb stud and do a reverse flick on this guy. I cannot do that on the Formax. Another knife that is, other than this one, my favorite cold steel Demko model is the 8010. This knife is definitely the one, before I got this, that was my go-to hard use folder. But as you can see, it is still much smaller than the Formax. And, the toughness of these two knives. Now, I haven't tested or done any really kind of hard work with the Scorpion lock. I'm assuming, it's really tough. But the triad lock, guys, it's just something else and beyond as far as the lockup and it being tough. Like I said, I have 100% no doubt in my mind that the other parts of this knife will fail before the lock fails. Now, one good thing about this, I mean, it weighs 9.2 ounces, but you do have titanium liners and titanium pocket clip with a titanium backspacer. Of course, the actual lock itself is steel, but it does help a little bit with weight, other than it being steel. I mean, 9.2 ounces is not no chump change. But the Cold Steel 8010, definitely still one of my favorite knives as far as hard use with that triad lock. But this one, again, just kind of like the 8015, I can actually manipulate this with one hand. Do the, of course, I failed at that, right? I can do the Spidey flick with the thumb, thumb studs. Jeez, I can't talk today. So I still love carrying this knife because of that right there. I mean, I love to be able to open this thing with the thumb studs in those particular ways. It just really makes for a little bit more of a fidgety kind of a thing. But you've got to be careful. Let me tell you guys, there is no knives that I get from the factory sharper than cold steel knives. I mean, geez. Let's see if I've got it here. Oh, other cold steels that I have that actually I probably should have brought out because of their bigness. Let's go ahead and get the 8015. There it is against the Cold Steel Voyager XL. So yeah, the Voyager is a triad lock, and it is longer than the Formax, but definitely not as strong as this guy. This one has the FRN handles with partial liners, and yeah, it's just not going to be as tough. But these knives came wicked sharp. I mean, holy crap. I even have, which is in the other room right now, but I got the box out here. I have the other one, oh crap, what was this one called? This was the Vaquero? Yeah, the Vaquero, there it is. That I got from my buddy left at EDC. Oh, and so now I have two of the Voyager XLs, one the Vaquero, one the Tonto, and I absolutely love it, by the way. It's so cool. These knives are impractical, but badass. So as you can see, I am a Cold Steel fan. I love Andrew Demko's designs. This was definitely one of my favorite knives of 2020. This is the Demko 8020, and as you can see, this is a large knife, but this is a behemoth, like I said, so you can see the difference there. This is definitely one of my favorite knives of all time because of the shark lock. As you can see, it is so fun to manipulate. You can open this knife in a couple of different ways. It is so strong. I mean, basically the shark lock, if you look at it, with some of the videos, it is a triad lock, but different. So it does have the same, in my opinion, I haven't tested anything, but I think it's going to be just as strong as the triad lock because of the way the shark lock is designed, but yet the fidginess of the, I can't talk. I just love this knife so much. Is just out of this world. I love this knife, love this knife, love this knife. That's how much I love Andrew Demko and what he does. And this is no exception. This is the all-time toughest. I mean, if I had one knife that I knew I had to go outdoors with and take with me, it would be this, for a folder. I mean, obviously, I'd like to have a fixed blade on me. But, yeah, I know, guys, if you need something tough, you just use a fixed blade. I'm going to tell you right now, if I had this knife, I would do whatever I had to do that I could do with a fixed blade. I would do with this and really not worry. That's how much confidence I have in this knife. Oh, I just love it. I absolutely love it. It is not a fidget toy. It is a tool, and it is a badass tool. I love this thing. I love carrying this thing. I've got to put an edge back on it because I've done so much with it. I mean, it still cuts, but it doesn't cut like, whenever I first got this, it gets about 20 thousandths behind the edge here, and then it kind of gets thicker till about 30. So definitely has a distal taper on this edge. It's a full flat grind, but definitely gets thicker up here. So, excuse me, golly, I got something in my throat. So definitely still cuts, but it's not going to be obviously a slicing machine for slicing apples. But it did everything that I needed it to do in my EDC, and then of course a lot more in the outdoors. So guys, if you're looking for a knife that is going to be the toughest thing that you will handle, you want the Cold Steel 4MAX. Now they do have a Cold Steel 4MAX Scout that I've never had. It is, similar to this. It doesn't have the premium materials that this does, but it's a lot less expensive. And so, that's something you can definitely try out. I think it has AUS 8 or AUS 10 steel, which is a great steel, especially for the budget price that you will pay with the 4MAX Scout. But if you're looking for something like, it's badass too. I just have not handled one. But if you're willing to spend the money, if you can find one, like I said, you can find one for pretty cheap now in the secondary market. At least you could when I bought this. If you're $200, $250, yes, well worth it. I say go for it. If you can find one for that price, do it. I mean, of course, now they're discontinued. So hopefully they may make some I don't know. I with the Cold Steel selling thing, I just don't know what kind of models will come back. So it's a scary thing. I love a bunch of their models, so this one is definitely a coveted one. I love this knife so much because it's just tough. And yeah, I'm rubbing it. That's right, because I love it. So you can't make fun of me because I have a knife. So anyways, guys, thanks a lot for stopping by. I'm just kooky. And, when I talk about these things, I get so excited. I really do enjoy this knife. So definitely hit that like button and subscribe bell if you like this kind of stuff. We got a lot more coming in 2021. I did a little bit of an announcement in my best knives of 2020 where I will be monetizing due to the fact that YouTube will be putting ads on the channel if I monetize or not. And so I'm trying to... still kind of drives me crazy, but a lot of cool stuff coming in 2021. I love you all. Stay safe in this crazy world that we are living in, and we will see you in the next one.